There was a time, especially in the 1960s, when American luxury cars followed a very different formula than what we see today. The goal wasn't sharp cornering or tech-heavy dashboards. It was about ride quality, presence, and comfort. And back then, one brand consistently delivered on that idea: Cadillac. In 1965, Cadillac offered something that was neither modest nor sporty. It was large, quiet, well-appointed, and incredibly smooth on the road. That car was the Cadillac Fleetwood 60 Special, a name that, today, doesn't come up in everyday conversations, but played a significant role in shaping what luxury driving once meant in the United States. The Fleetwood 60 Special was Cadillac's upper-tier full-size sedan, positioned just below the limousine-grade Fleetwood 75. It wasn't meant to be flashy or fast. It was built to offer a quiet, refined ride for those who valued comfort over performance. The 1965 model marked an important design update. It moved away from the more rounded lines of the early 60s toward a squarer, more formal appearance that would define the rest of the decade. This model year featured stacked headlights, a wider grille, and sharper body lines. These visual cues weren't just for style. They were part of a broader effort by Cadillac to update its image for a more modern, professional audience. At 227.5 inches long, this car was nearly 19 feet from bumper to bumper. It sat on a 133-inch wheelbase, which helped provide an incredibly stable and comfortable ride. And with a curb weight of over 5,000 pounds, it was a substantial car, even by full-size standards of the day. But despite its size, the Fleetwood was not overdone. Its proportions were balanced, the chrome was tasteful, and the design emphasized horizontal lines that made the car feel composed rather than excessive. It looked serious, but elegant. Under the hood, the 1965 Fleetwood 60 came standard with Cadillac's 429 cubic inch V8 engine. That's roughly 7.0 liters, and it produced 340 horsepower along with 480 pound-feet of torque. These numbers may seem mild compared to modern performance vehicles, but that wasn't the point. This engine was built for low-end torque and smooth operation. Paired with the turbo-hydromatic 3-speed automatic transmission, it delivered consistent and quiet acceleration. The car wasn't quick off the line, but it had more than enough power to maintain high speeds comfortably on open highways, which were expanding rapidly across the US in that era, thanks to the interstate system. Fuel economy, of course, was not a primary concern at the time. The Fleetwood 60 returned somewhere around 10 to 12 miles per gallon, depending on driving conditions. But in 1965, gas was cheap, and buyers in this segment weren't counting pennies at the pump. Ride quality was where the Fleetwood truly stood out. With its long wheelbase, soft suspension, and sound-dampening materials, it absorbed road imperfections with ease. The cabin was quiet. Remarkably so for its time. You didn't feel most bumps, and you barely heard the outside world once the doors were shut. Inside, the Fleetwood 60 reflected Cadillac's attention to comfort and detail. The seats were wide, with thick cushions and soft materials. Leather was available, but many cars were ordered with Cadillac's high-grade cloth upholstery, which offered a warmer, softer feel in varying climates. Wood accents, metal trim, and padded vinyl completed the look. The dashboard layout was clean and functional, with large, legible gauges and clearly labeled switches. Cadillac placed emphasis on user-friendly design. Climate controls, radio dials, and other features were easy to reach and operate, something that's sometimes overlooked in luxury vehicles even today. The rear seat area was one of the car's highlights. Thanks to the long wheelbase, legroom was more than generous. Rear passengers had access to their own reading lights, ashtrays, and optional footrests. For buyers who were driven by a chauffeur or simply wanted a comfortable space for long-distance trips, the backseat experience was close to what you'd expect in a higher-end limousine. And then there were the features: power windows, power front seats, power locks, power trunk release, and even a power antenna. Cadillac's automatic climate control system, called Comfort Control, was also available, a rare and advanced feature at the time. It allowed occupants to set a desired cabin temperature, and the system would automatically adjust airflow to maintain it. None of these features were included just to impress. They were there because Cadillac believed that a luxury car should handle the details for you. The idea was simple: the driver and passengers shouldn't have to think about the mechanics of the ride. The car should make decisions quietly in the background, allowing everyone to relax and enjoy the journey. The Fleetwood 60 Special appealed to a very specific group of buyers in the 1960s. It wasn't the car for someone looking for excitement or sporty performance. Instead, it was purchased by professionals, executives, and older families who wanted a dignified car that offered space, comfort, and peace of mind. For many buyers, owning a Cadillac was the reward for years of hard work. It was the car you bought once you had established your career, your home, and your place in society. And the Fleetwood 60, being more refined than the standard Cadillac Series 62, was often seen as the model for people who wanted something just a step above without venturing into limousine territory. It didn't need to be fast. It didn't need to be loud. It needed to do one thing: make the drive feel effortless. And that's exactly what it did. In a world of digital displays, touch-sensitive buttons, and sport modes, the Fleetwood reminds us that sometimes real luxury is about feeling relaxed, not stimulated, about enjoying the road quietly, not conquering. If you ever get the chance to sit in one, take it. You'll find yourself in a different time, when comfort came on four wheels, wrapped in chrome, humming softly, under a wide hood. The Fleetwood wasn't just a car, it was a philosophy. And even if it's been forgotten by the mainstream, those who know remember. It also appealed to corporate fleets and state governments. You'd often find them used as formal vehicles for executives, mayors, and visiting dignitaries. Cadillac's consistent reliability and build quality meant that these cars could handle years of service with minimal mechanical issues, provided they were maintained properly. Despite everything the Fleetwood 60 offered, its memory faded in the decades that followed. The reasons are layered, but they're understandable. First, there was the oil crisis of the 1970s. Fuel prices surged, and cars like the Fleetwood, large, heavy, and V8 powered, fell out of favor almost overnight. Buyers began to look for smaller, more efficient vehicles, many of which were coming from Japan and Europe. Second, consumer expectations shifted. The idea of luxury evolved from big, comfortable cruisers to cars that were more compact, more nimble, and loaded with advanced electronics. Brands like Mercedes-Benz and BMW began to define a new version of premium driving, focused on engineering, performance, and understated design. Cadillac tried to adapt, but in the process, it lost part of its identity. The massive rear-wheel drive sedans became smaller and more front-wheel drive based. Newer models didn't carry the same road presence or sense of occasion, and over time, the Fleetwood name itself was phased out. Lastly, cars from the 1960s didn't always enjoy immediate popularity among collectors. During the 1980s and 1990s, enthusiasts were more interested in muscle cars, hot rods, or European classics. Large American luxury sedans from this period were often overlooked, seen as too big, too soft, or too old-fashioned. In recent years, however, there's been a slow but steady resurgence in appreciation for vehicles like the 1965 Fleetwood 60. Collectors have started to realize that these cars represent a unique chapter in American automotive history, a time when comfort, craftsmanship, and design were valued above all else. Unlike some cars that skyrocketed in value, the Fleetwood remains relatively accessible. A well-preserved or carefully restored example can still be found at a reasonable price, especially when compared to European luxury cars of the same era. Parts availability is decent thanks to Cadillac's strong manufacturing base and community support. More importantly, driving one today is still a special experience. There's a sense of calm, a certain rhythm to the way it moves, that's missing from many modern cars. You sit higher, you float over imperfections, you hear very little of the outside world. And you understand why. For many buyers in 1965, this was the pinnacle of automotive comfort. The 1965 Cadillac Fleetwood 60 may not be a household name today, but its influence is undeniable. It represented a moment when American automakers had confidence in their approach to luxury, when bigger didn't just mean more metal, but more space, more comfort. It didn't need to be fast. It didn't need to be loud. It needed to do one thing: make the drive feel effortless. And that's exactly what it did. In a world of digital displays, touch-sensitive buttons, and sport modes, the Fleetwood reminds us that sometimes real luxury is about feeling relaxed, not stimulated, about enjoying the road quietly, not conquering it. If you ever get the chance to sit in one, take it. You'll find yourself in a different time, when comfort came on four wheels, wrapped in chrome, humming softly under a wide hood. The Fleetwood wasn't just a car, it was a philosophy. And even if it's been forgotten by the mainstream, those who know, remember,